How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. Okay, so today's video is going to be on the safest stock you can buy, in my opinion. All right, so before I get into the safest stock, yes, the safest stock, you got to do something for me, and that is smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that bell notification to always stay notified on all the posts and videos that are coming your way. All right, so what is the safest stock? Now think about this for a second. Before I unveil it, what is the safest stock? If you could think of every single company, a company that's been around since probably before you were born, a company that you don't see going bankrupt, a company that owns virtually everything. Now, you're probably thinking of a lot of companies. Apple's probably coming to mind. Amazon might come to mind, but Amazon was only started in '94, so maybe not Amazon. What else is coming to mind? I don't know. I'm not there. But the stock and the company that I believe is most well positioned, and I think the safest company you can buy, is the one and only Walt Disney Company. Yes, the Walt Disney Company. Why is it so safe? Now, before I get into anything stock related, let me talk about the company itself, because at the end of the day, stocks are companies, and you're not judging how much money they're making in a way. You're judging the business first, the actual business, the core of the business. All right. Disney is the safest stock for a few reasons. One of them is, yes, they've been around for a long time, but what's their main business? I have a feeling, I'm not there, but I'm probably, if I was, I'd probably get some different answers. A lot of people are probably starting to say, oh, movies. Oh, they have TV shows. Oh, they have the theme parks. Some people are like, oh yeah, right, they have theme parks. They have the cruise ships. Oh, right, yeah. Listen, Disney has so many businesses, it's unbelievably vast. Let's start naming some. Their OG business, theme parks. You can have the theme parks that spun off into even Disney cruises, right? They have the movies. Now, they own Star Wars, which is LucasArts. They own Marvel, which has 22 plus films. And let me tell you, when Avengers Endgame hits, it's going to beat Titanic. The question is, will it beat Avatar? It's going to be over a $2 billion movie. The question is, how much more? All right. Is it going to hit 3? Will it overtake Avatar? I don't know. Another thing with Avatar is they now own Fox. So they now own the X-Men franchise, which they didn't own the movie rights to, but now they do. Okay. That means they also own Avatar. They own Home Alone, Predator, Alien, a bunch of other things. They own The Simpsons, Family Guy, The Orville, a bunch of Seth MacFarlane TV shows. Okay. They all own this now. They also own other channels like History, National Geographic, ABC, tons, all right? Obviously the Disney Channel. They own ESPN, all right? Like, they're just a monster. And they also own Pixar, you know? Those amazing animation movies you watch, yeah, they're owned by Pixar. Not to mention Disney has a damn boat ton of movies coming out this year. But okay, they had Captain Marvel already hit. Avengers is hitting at the end of this month. They're having Lion King, Aladdin, that looks slightly questionable, but it's still there. Dumbo, probably a huge hit, but you know, it came out, whatever. They have Spider-Man that they're kind of into with Sony. Like, they have tons of movies. Lion King is going to be $1 billion movie. Oh, not to mention they got Toy Story 4, all right? That's probably $1 billion movie as well, or close to it at least. Like, these movies are just cranking out $1 billion. Captain Marvel passed $1 billion. Avengers will at least do $2, maybe $3 billion. Lion King, that's doing $1 billion. Toy Story, that's probably doing $1 billion. Aladdin, I'm not so sure about, but it's making money. It'll probably do somewhere. I think it'll probably do somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 to 800 million, but we'll see. They still have so many other things, and they're starting streaming, all right? They're pulling their stuff off of Netflix. They've canceled all their Marvel TV shows, and they're making their own streaming service. I seriously think people are underestimating the streaming service. Oh, and I didn't even mention Hulu. Yeah, they own Hulu, which is another streaming service. Now they bought Fox. They have a majority stake, over 50%, okay? I believe it's 51%. Now they're starting their own streaming service. People are underestimating this by a lot, okay? Disney, now I hear a lot of people saying, oh, but it's just for kids. Nah. Star Wars ain't just for kids, man. Star Wars came out in 1977, okay? Long before I was even born. I mean, my father loved Star Wars. It's one of his favorites. I know tons of people who are 40, 50 years old, and they grew up with Star Wars. That was like the movie for them, okay? Now, when I was growing up, you know, Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith was in theaters, right? But, I mean, I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm a big Star Wars fan, but, you know, it never spoke to me like Marvel did. And they own Marvel. Not to mention all the Pixar movies and everything like that. Like, just crushing it, all right? They are just crushing it on the movie front. And on this streaming service, they incorporate all that. And they have the TV shows. Now they have the Fox properties. Like, you got The Simpsons. That's a pretty big TV show right there. You got Family Guy. Pretty big TV show there, too. All of Fox's movies, all of Disney's movies. Disney does over 25% of the box office. Okay? Like, all the money made in the box office, over 25% is Disney. Absolutely ridiculous company. All right? And the streaming service is going to be big. They're going to make billions of dollars off of it. And they're having their conference today, actually. So we'll get to see more news on that. But another thing I want to say with Disney is, they're a company that changes all the time, all right? And companies that don't change worry me. Now, I want to tell you a story that when I was in grade 10 history class, I was sitting there and I heard this story and I'll never forget it. The teacher was telling us a story of how during World War I, Army veterans who were in the Civil War, all right, who, like, you know, led battalions and whatnot, and they were OGs, right? They were promoted to the captains of their squad. So they led their squad. They were squad leader, basically. And they set up strategies. Well, the strategy during the Civil War was to basically get on horseback, get your men, and charge. You know, that was their strategy, and that was what they did. The problem was, and they were told that a new weapon was on the battlefield. And that weapon was the Gatling gun. All right, now we know the Gatling gun is a machine gun. Well, they heard about it, and I guess they didn't really care. So some of the men who were, you know, honored during the Civil War and heroes said, nah, you know what? Forget that Gatling gun. This worked during the Civil War. This worked during the Roman Wars. This worked, you know, for thousands of years. It's going to keep working. Just do it this way. Unfortunately, those men charged the battlefield and got mowed down by the Gatling gun. That's a very, you know, sad story, but I took a very different lesson from that story. And I thought, if you don't change, you die. Quite literally in that sense. If a business does not change and adapt, it dies. All right? And that is a very important thing. If a company does not change its business, it will cease to exist, all right? Now, there's tons of companies like this. A big one is Blockbuster. Blockbuster was a huge company. People, you know, flock to Blockbuster. I used to go there as a child. I have fond memories of that store, all right? It's no longer around. Why is it no longer around? Because they didn't change. A company like Netflix should have been dead. But they saw where the trends were going. They were a DVD mailing service, and they said, you know what? Let's change that. Let's scrap this DVD mailing service, which they had millions of subscribers, I should add, and changed up their business and decided to go digital. Very smart, but very risky at the time. Obviously now it's easy to say, oh, that was a smart decision. At the time, you have to look at back then, it was a risky decision. Netflix is a smart company. That's a very smart move. Disney is one of those type of companies. They're a company that started with theme parks and now own pretty much everything media, all right? They're a company that keeps buying up things, all right? They don't just they're not just content with what they have. They want to keep growing and keep thriving and keep, gaining. That's a good company. You never want a company to take their foot off the gas pedal, click on cruise control, and just coast. You don't want that. You want a company that's, putting their foot down and always trying to expand and always trying to grow. A company like IBM will die soon, all right? Because they don't do anything. They don't do anything revolutionary. They're not going to die soon in the sense that it's like next year, next week or something like that. But mark my words, in like 10 years, if IBM doesn't do something drastic, they're going to cease to exist. There's tons of companies like this. Even HP scares me, like Bed Bath & Beyond. These are companies that if they don't change, see you later. Like, put your head on the guillotine and let it friggin' fall down and chop your head off. Because you're dead. You're done. You're done. All right? Anyways, enough of that. Why is Disney the safest stock? Let's go over some actual cold hard facts here. All right, so I just wrote a couple little things, but I'm going to get into their financials in a second. This is Disney. They got a PE of 16, a market cap of $210 billion, and they currently pay dividends of $1.76 per year. They pay that semi-annually, so if divide that by 2, and that's what they pay every 6 months. I should add, I am a Disney shareholder. I've been a Disney shareholder for just about 2 years. I bought the stock when it dipped under 100. I bought it at about $94. All right, it's a good stock. It's a slow-moving stock. I'm up about 25% on my position. Decent gain. Not, spectacular or anything like that, but happy with it. It is a slow-moving stock, but it's a very safe stock. If you want a low-volatility stock, this is the stock for you. Let's go over their financials, which I think just cement this company as an amazing company. So the first thing here, let's look at how much money they made. So if we look at annually in 2015, they brought in $52.47 billion in revenue and kept $8.38 billion of that. In 2016, they earned $55.63 billion and kept $9.39 billion to themselves. And then in 2017, they earned $55.14 billion and kept for themselves $8.98 billion. Then finally in 2018, they earned $59.43 billion and kept a much better percent of that and ended up keeping $12.6 billion for themselves. Now, if we look at quarterly, we're just going to look at the last quarter. The last quarter, they brought in $15.3 billion and they kept $2.79 billion for themselves. So under their assets, you can see that under cash and equivalents, they got $4.455 billion. Under net receivables, they're just over $10 billion. In inventory, $2 billion. Other assets, $778 million for total current assets of $17.537 billion. So if you look a little lower here, that you can see they have long-term investments of $2.97 billion, property, plant, and equipment of over $29 billion, goodwill of over $31 billion, intangible assets of $6.7 billion, other assets of $11.6 billion for a total asset value of $99.941 billion. Now, under their debt, you can see that they owe about $10.7 billion. Their short and current long-term debt is $2.79 billion, and their other liabilities is $3.4 billion for a total current liabilities of $17.619 billion. Now, if you look at more long-term liabilities, they have long-term debt of $17.176 billion, other liabilities of $9.629 billion, a minority interest of $5.2 billion for a grand total of $44.424 billion. Obviously, that is less than half of their total assets, so that's always a good thing. Now, if you look down here, you can also see that their net tangible assets is $12.28 billion, meaning they are overall profitable if you count everything. All right, so if the company were to go bankrupt, they would still have money left over. That's always a good thing to see. Under their cash flow, you can see that in total cash flow from operating activities, they are up about $2.1 billion. That's down from. So if you look over here under their cash flow for net income, this is annually, you can see they've been raising pretty steadily here. They were at $8 billion, $8.3 billion, $9.3 billion, $8.9 billion. Now they're at almost $6 billion. And then you can see that their total cash flow from operating activities is $14.295 billion. Pretty good number as well. Then if we look under their income statement, you can see that, look at it annually. So for the year, you can see that they've been growing it pretty good. It was $24.1 billion, then it went up to $25.7 billion, then it went down to about almost 25 billion. Now it's back up to 26.7 billion. So at least it's consistent. You can also see that they're growing their revenue, and their cost of revenue is rising as well, but their total revenue is going up as well. So that's a plus. I also have a chart here that kind of shows an overview of everything that Disney owns. It's an absolutely crazy chart. It kind of gives you an idea of everything that Disney owns. I think it really puts into perspective everything they own. It's absolutely insane. Anyway, so that's just why I'm bullish on this stock. They got pretty good financials. Honestly, it's not like the most amazing financials, but I'm not judging this company on financials. You can look at chart patterns all day, but all I care about is how will this stock do in, say, like the next 10 years, 20 years, even longer. I don't see Disney possibly ever going bankrupt. Obviously, it's a possibility, but just by how, much of an icon they are, I don't think they will. That's why I say they're the safest stock out there. You have to think of a stock that no matter what happens in the economy will not change. If the economy does terrible tomorrow, people are not going out and spending $1,000 for an iPhone. It's not happening. Now, I own Apple stock, and that's a bit of a strike against it, but it's true. Okay, if you in a bad economy, are people buying Teslas? Maybe if gas is really expensive, but they're probably not spending money on cars. All right, cars take anything that's like discretionary income that you don't need is gonna go up. Now, you don't need to go to a theme park, but just because the US is having a recession, say, it doesn't mean other companies are having a recession. So they'll come and they'll go, right, to those theme parks. They'll go on a cruise still. Now, that's something amazing. And if the US is having a recession and Disney releases a movie, everyone else in the whole world can still go see it, all right? Sure, it'll take a chunk out of their box office, but it's not like the movie will bomb or anything like that. So these are things you have to think about. People are still going to watch TV in a recession. Hell, they might even be watching more TV or streaming more because they're at home bored if they're not working possibly. All right, they might cut their cable and get a Disney streaming service. These are things that could happen. So these are things you have to think of, all right? So it's very well set up. It's good for the next many years. Now, a couple honorable mentions I want to say is McDonald's, okay? So obviously McDonald's is as American as it gets. The Big Mac is such a staple of America. It literally says America when you say McDonald's and Big Mac. All right, it just sounds like America, to quote the founder, Ray Kroc. I mean, McDonald's ain't going anywhere. It's a staple of America. It is America in a way. It's one of the most American companies out there. McDonald's will be around for probably my lifetime. All right. Another one is Coca-Cola. However, Coca-Cola has a pretty high multiple, and I don't consider it a safe stock just because I believe Coca-Cola will actually go down in the near future. If we get a recession, I think Coca-Cola will go down, and people are starting to get away from sugary drinks, in my opinion. Water's become more popular. I mean, damn, that's mostly what I drink. I used to drink like a Coke a day, and a few years ago I cut it out, and I swear I feel like I don't miss it as much as I thought I would. I sure enjoy having a Coke, but I don't miss it as much as I thought, and it's been a pretty good change. So just sugary drinks in general are starting to go away. Obviously, they own way more companies than just Coke, way more brands, but most are sugary, all right? And their Dasani water is just terrible. I don't know. I think it has a weird taste. Dasani and Aquafina taste weird. Maybe you know. Maybe you think I'm weird, but I just think it has a funny taste. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Do you think Disney is a safe stock? If so, comment it down. If you think there's another stock that's safer, comment it down. If you think I'm totally wrong, comment that down too. I'd love to hear your opinion, even if it's negative. Why not? Free speech, free country. Say it. Anyways, until next time, have an amazing, beautiful, fantastic, one-of-a-kind day, and I'll see you next time.